Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Scareclaw Yugioh deck profile for post-Power of the Elements. With the latest Yu-Gi-Oh booster set, we were given the new Scareclaw Link 1 Lightheart monster. It definitely does help with the whole playstyle of the Scareclaw deck, which is more of a control-based deck, utilizing the Link 3 and just shutting down a good majority of your opponent's plays, being basically the Baguska Link monster for the deck, and playing off of the adjacent playstyle that the Scareclaw monsters are meant to do. Lightheart definitely does help with speeding things along, and we did get some other support from the newest Yu-Gi-Oh booster set as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck monsters, we are running 3 Scareclaw Rykart. With this card, you can special summon this card from your hand to a main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster you control or in its column. You can only special summon Rykart once per turn this way, and if it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Scareclaw Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. Then, if 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, you can draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Rykart once per turn. So, this is the easy special summon setup, just being able to summon out this card to the same column or adjacent one of another Scareclaw monster. The defense mode playstyle still allows you to get your own plays, and also being able to shut down your opponent's own plays with cards like Scareclaw Tryheart that you'll set up on the field, but just also having this resource to then easily rely on it to go into your Scareclaw Lightheart makes it all the easier for your plays that you can make in the deck now. For some of the other monsters, I also run 3 Scareclaw Acro. You can special summon this card from your hand, do a main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster you control, or in its column. You can only special summon Scareclaw Acro once per turn. This way, and your Scareclaw monsters in the extra monster zone gain 300 attack for each defense position monster you control. Being able to power up your Tryheart, because of this, it already has 3,000 attack to begin with, so just being able to boost it up thanks to Acro and just being another special summon monster on the field to build up with some of the other resources is why it's a definite 3-up for the good majority of the Scareclaw monsters we run. I also run 3 Scareclaw Balone. You can special summon this card from your hand to your main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster, and also you'll only special summon it once per turn this way, and if your Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone attacks a defense monster, it inflicts piercing battle damage. This is what's great about more setup, but also giving the piercing play for the monsters that will be in defense position for all the face-on monsters regardless because of Tryhards. And I also run 3 Scareclaw Astra, having these same special summon options for this card. And with it being in the extra monster zone for your Scareclaw monster, you can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of defense monster Scareclaw you control with different names. So then your one dependent monster will be your Scareclaw Tryheart with the multiple attacks you can gain thanks to all the other defense position monsters you set up on the field. And then for the last of the Scareclaw lineup, it's not really a Scareclaw monster, but I'm running 2 Vysis Starfrost. If this card's in your hand, you can target 1 monster you control with a different type and attribute. Then this card, destroy that monster. If you do special summon this card, you can only use this effect of Vysis Starfrost once per turn. And when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the original attack or defense of that monster. If either the highest, it's your choice if tied. So it's another setup card. The Vysis Starfrost is also one of the usable cards you can use to make Lightheart, being 1 Scareclaw monster or 1 Vysis Starfrost. I thought about running just 1 copy of this card. I stuck to 2 because you do have more of a resource to build with all the other cards you run in this deck, which is a good backup option, being a tuner monster to allow also for some synchro plays. And also for the rest of the monsters, I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 3 Effect Veiler, and additionally 2 Ghost Ogre. The reason I run such a high hand trap option is for the fact that this deck definitely is a control-based deck, focusing on Scareclaw Tryheart to shut down a good number of cards on the field, changing all face-on monsters to defense position, and then just using this hand trap lineup to then be able to stop any of the other plays your opponent may try to do. On the defensive, if you can just shut them down with the rest of your setup using these cards, they really won't be able to do much else. And that is it for the main deck monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Primitive Planet Aristophobia. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Scareclaw monster or 1 Vysis Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense for each defense monster on the field. If 3 or more defense monsters are on the field, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can only use this effect of Primitive Planet Aristophobia once per turn, and you can only activate 1 of this card per turn as well. This is your go-to card to at least get rid of some of the other problem cards your opponent opponent may have, while still being able to utilize your defense position Scareclaw monsters along with the initial link monster you'll want to set up as well. And this is one of the cards you'll search out with your Lightheart, so being able to search it out with Lightheart and then in turn just search out the Visus Starfrost from there is why I also recommend just maybe running one copy of this card. It can be easily searched out with this, and it's really all you'll need for that play. And for some of the lower numbers for the Scareclaw cards, I also run 2 Scareclaw Arrival. You target 1 Scareclaw monster or Visus Starfrost in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. And if a Scareclaw Link monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Basically just being a monster reborn for those resources in your graveyard, while also being able to protect the ones you have on the field. And we are also running 2 of the new Scareclaw Straddle. You can activate 1 of the following effects. You can target 1 Scareclaw monster or 1 Visus Starfrost in your monster zone, and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls in your monster zone gains attack and defense equal to your opponent's monster or with attack or defense, whichever is the highest. And when a card or effect is activated that targets a Scareclaw monster or Visus Starfrost you control, negate that effect. You can only activate 1 Scareclaw Straddle per turn, but once again, just a quick play spell that you can set on the field and also just help to shut down your opponent's plays they may try to use against you. With the last of the spells just being 1 Call by the Grave, more shutdown of your opponent's plays, Terraforming for the 1 additional search for your field spell. You do have the Lightheart to search out the field spell initially, so if you wanted to take out the Terraforming, you could always put in a 3rd copy of Ghost Ogre for this spot. And also 1 reinforcements to the army, because we do run a warrior monster in the form of Scareclaw Rykart for that search target. And lastly, 1 monster reborn for the final spell lineup for the cards we run in the spell card special summon area. And that is it. Moving on now to the traps. We are running 2 Scareclaw Splash. A continuous trap. Once per turn, you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or Visus Starfrost you control. It can attack while in face-up defense position this turn, and if it does apply its attack or defense, whichever is the highest, for damage calculation. And when your opponent activates a card effect where you control a Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and negate that effect. That's why I like running 2 of these cards. You have the option of able to just send it for the negate, but also then just to reactivate it again to have that defensive play that you can use with your Scareclaw monsters being able to attack in defense position. And depending on what other setup you may have with your other Scareclaw cards, you can hit some pretty big numbers. And I also run 2 Scareclaw Alternative. You tribute 3 Scareclaw monsters for the rest of this turn. Your opponent can only special summon monsters in defense position, and during your turn, banish this card from your graveyard and inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each defense position monster on the field. So the burn damage is backseat to the actual main effect of this card. Being able to shut down your opponent's link play, since they can only summon monsters in defense mode, they can't summon any link monsters, since the link monsters obviously have to be in attack position. With the final lineup for the traps just being 3 Infinite Impermanence along with the Ash Blossom, the Ghost Ogres, and the Effect Failers. This hand trap just helps for, once again, going second plays. So if your opponent goes first, you have this option to activate against them, controlling no other cards in the field. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 3 Scareclaw Lightheart, the new Link 1 monster. You need 1 Scareclaw monster or 1 Visus Starfrost. This card, for this Link summon, you can only use monsters in your main monster zone as material. If this card is Link summoned in the extra monster zone, you can add 1 Primitive Planet Rissophobia from your deck to your hand. If you control Visus Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only use this effect of Scareclaw Lightheart once per duel. The special summon is just to get another resource on the field, but being able to have your Triheart in the extra monster zone and set up the Lightheart as well as an additional arrow can give you more of a co-linked option with some of your other monsters we run in the extra deck, along with the special summon play for Lightheart, which is once per duel, but still one of another ways to get another resource onto the field because of it. And it's still the searcher for the field spell, which is another part of the search power you have for your Scareclaw card. So having multiples of this, it may only be a once per turn activation, but having plenty to use is always good. And I do want to run 3 Scareclaw Trihearts. I just wasn't able to get any more of the cards for the deck profile. So I have 1 Nightmare Cerberus and 1 Nightmare Unicorn just to fill in the spots. But you do want to run 3 copies of this card. It's your main go-to boss monster, so you always want to have that resource to go into if your opponent gets over it any other way. It needs 3 effect monsters. It must be Link summoned. All face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position. It's unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. And once per turn, if this card is in in the extra monster zone, you can target one level 3 Scareclaw monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, add one Scareclaw monster from your deck to your hand, giving you resource after resource with your searches, along with the other cards we already mentioned in the deck, to have a special summoned lineup on the field thanks to these cards. And then the more you have the piercing battle damage, you have the attack boost, you have all these options available to you with the differently named Scareclaw monsters we run in the deck. So another definite 3-up for sure with this card. And then for the other Link monsters, I run one Nightmare Phoenix, one Nightmare Cerberus, one Underclock Taker, one IP Masquerena, one Dark the Dark Charmer, one Barricade Board Blocker, one Nightmare Unicorn, and one Access Code Talker, having more of a generic lineup, but still all viable resources to go into with the many different monsters you can summon out onto the field. With the last monster in the extra deck just being one Baron de Fleur. This card is player preference for what synchro monster you may want to have. I like the Baron de Fleur because the Visas Starfrost is a level 6. So with this and your Rykart in the summon right there, that is a level 10 play, which it will be in defense position with most of your plays, but still a way to negate your opponent's card and still have a way to pop another card on the field because of it. And then as for some of the go-to plays to go for in this deck, all you really need is the one Scareclaw monster to initiate the play. You'll summon it in the main monster zone, then you'll go for the Link 1 play, which then you'll go into your Scareclaw Lightheart, which then with this you have the search, since it's in the extra monster zone, to use for this card summon. If it's Link summon in the extra monster zone, adding the Primeval Planet Rissophobia, activating it, and when it's activated, adding one Scareclaw monster, Visas Starfrost, from your deck to your hand. So then you can search out whichever one you need for the play to initiate that summon, and with it being in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type, which Visas Starfrost, with you add that, destroying it and special summon this card from your hand, being able to use that effect, and when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, having the gain in attack position, you can destroy the Lightheart to summon out the Visas Starfrost, and then having the Visas Starfrost on the field, you can special summon this card back from your graveyard into the main monster zone, giving you the play to then set up another of your Scareclaw monsters in your hand adjacent to the zone that it's on, giving you those 3 monsters to then go into the additional play of the easy summon of your Scareclaw Triheart on the field, which then from there and your other cards with the defense position monsters setting up the field spell for the destruction plays, but also being able to build up those monsters for the special summon and the power up of your Trihearts. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. I was definitely liking this deck the more I saw it. I wasn't sure what to expect with the new Link 1, but it's definitely a fun control-based playstyle, if that's what you like, with the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.